Hello. I need to stand in here. Welcome to Fishburner Live. This is Man, and today we have Microsoft for Startup Female Founders Pitch Night. And we have Filipa from Remarkable, as well as Sinéad, our brave and proud Microsoft host for tonight. And obviously, Fishburner Live is all about bringing you the after-party feeling and the conversation to the crowd out there. For those people who has missed our event, they know what kind of conversation happened and who are the people that turn up here and get the most out of it. Take it away, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Filipa. I work at Remarkable, which is a disability tech startup accelerator. I've also run She Starts in the past, which was a program for women-led startups. So very excited to have been here tonight and hear some amazing pitches.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sinéad Fitzgerald. I'm at Microsoft. I work very closely with the Microsoft for Startup team, but once an organization gets past the startup phase and they come into wanting to actually go to market, create a sales strategy, create a marketing strategy, and develop their business, then I would work with them in almost a strategic advisory sort of fashion, as well as finding, great ways to make their business and their technology more perhaps optimized on the Microsoft network. So yeah. No, this
amazing. And so Sinéad presented tonight, did an amazing job, as she does as well, partnering with Remarkable as Microsoft for Startups. And we had 8 fantastic pitches, so if you haven't watched that, I think you'll be able to catch on, and you should. From 8 female founders, well, I would say 9.
7 female founders.
Sorry, 8, because
the 8
we had
girls. Yeah,
a team that had 2 founders from very different sectors, from
very different.
As channel for seniors to be engaged in their aged care facilities.
Yes,
which was really cool.
That was really cool. By a woman who's a singer. By trade, an entertainer, and
had
she's
the coolest job, entertaining people at the senior home. I'm like, in a few years you'll see me doing that, I think.
Well, I think I might be in the seniors home in a few years, but let's not say that. But I was really interested in the fact that all of the pitches had a similar theme about mental health, or in fact, all of the pitches. So one was sales training for executives to, feel better, kind of almost like an MBA without having to do an MBA, to have situational awareness in order to combat that mental stress that salespeople or executives get when they're meeting a new client. And then, in the next 90 seconds, we had this incredible woman who was just talking about creating an app to battle loneliness.
Yes.
I mean, it was just the juxtaposition of the differences in the end customer, but actually the quality of the actual problem and the source of the problem is all still the same.
Yeah, and it's, it's both sad and beautiful that we've understood, I think, much more over the last few years, the importance of tackling mental health, and because it's a complex problem that touches us in all areas of our lives, it's great to see that there are solutions that are leverage technology to help in those different areas of our life, from the home, from the job, to our volunteer hours, to all the way when you were in aged care. So
absolutely.
It's a very good thread you picked on, Sinéad.
So tell me, when obviously you've worked at looking at female founders, do you see a theme, or do you see a significant difference when you got a group of male founded
yes,
versus
invest in the women founders, for sure?
And talk to me about that.
So well, funny enough, so at She Starts, we got to a stage, and so She Starts was part of Blue Chili, a startup accelerator, and I think this is okay to share. I think it is. We got to a point where our portfolio was 50-50 female founders, male founders, and consistently the female founded startups perform better in their investments than the male founders. to the point that the VCs and investors that we liaise with said, please keep sending us your female founders. The other ones, I'm sure you have some good ones, but the female founders, please send those forward. And you mentioned at the beginning in your intro the harrowing stats that we're dealing with in terms of female founding startups, specifically for solo female founders. And it just doesn't make sense. Like the business case in all areas, from investment, from team lead, for performance in the market, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it keeps happening, and I think this bias in culture that doesn't match up with the data, doesn't match up with the numbers. But it's just bad calls business-wise not to invest more in women and women-led startups.
And I mean, it's terrifying when you look at the numbers. 3% globally of women who go to a VC only 3% will get investment. Where so that's 90. I mean, it's not even like 3% is small. 97% is huge.
Yes.
The converse.
And they've had multiple conversations for sure. Like they didn't speak with one investor or one VC. Like
exactly.
Months of meetings.
If you were to, I mean, you probably think about this all the time, but. What is it that you think, yes, there's a bias, but is there also something else that we can do in the industry to help women who are about to pitch and who are going through that process? And is there maybe a pattern that you've seen where they just don't pitch or they pitch badly? Or is it actually just we had people walking past, it's okay, it's totally fine. It's real. It's live.
Yeah, too. It's live. There's no editing, so it's all good. So the thing is, I think women do a fantastic job. And as with men, some of them pitch amazingly, some of them not so good, some of them have amazing traction, some of them don't. I don't think the problem is in the women. I think the problem is in the investor sides. So I think, putting the onus on them and hoping things will change hasn't worked. And I think that's why we have these stats. So, I love programs that are trying to train more people to become investors and that focus on female and vulnerable groups. But also I think there has to be education of investors that are male, as probably cisgender, white, making these decisions on the missed opportunity they're having. So just not the data, but kind of showing and maybe talking with them. Maybe we need more advocacy groups targeting those investors specifically, because I don't think they are paying attention. And activities that also bring people to the table and help them interact and see who these female founders are and how driven they are. And yes, they might do business sometimes a bit differently than the typical male, but don't we all? And this is who is a typical male as well, So, yes, I think it's not good. There's more to be done, and female founders are doing quite well as it is with their businesses. It's not usually the problem, but then also showcasing stories and putting those success stories out there, Melanie from Canva, such a good example of a terrific female founder, and I love that she is the one being portrayed in the stories consistently, and I think that makes a difference. And we don't need unicorns only to do that, but there's this if I can see it, I can be it. And I think for investors, if I miss out on that one, that female founded startup, hopefully I won't miss on the next one.
Wise words. Do you know what I also kind of think that maybe, I can just see Man here, he's going to stop me in a second. Are we good?
Have we chatted for too long?
Oh, great. No, I was going to ask one more question, and maybe it's a little nugget that I'm going to drop, and maybe we can take this up with some of the viewers or anyone who's watching it later, is, there's a lot of focus on that 3% figure and the lack of funding that goes from VCs to female founders. I haven't done the research, but I wonder if there is research in place that shows, female founders don't need VC backing to be successful, and therefore is there a pool of female, women-run businesses that we're just not we're not counting in the success of women in startup?
I I don't know if like women don't need. I just think they've been really good at finding alternatives because they were like, okay, if you're not opening the door to me, I'm going to design a window and I'm going to, stick together. And I think, for example, One Roof is an amazing community in Australia of female entrepreneurs that help each other, and I think that's the power of femininity but just women I really want to do this, and I'm not gonna I want to, and it's just because you don't give me the money, it's fine. I'm gonna find someone that does, and a lot of the times it's through crowdfunding as well. And finding, because your customers can believe in you and they can put their money there and they can be the backers. So yes, I think women don't always need. I think they could use with the money. It's just they've been very creative about finding other ways. And we probably can support more of that too. And still crowdfunding is not easy. It's not for everyone and for every product. I work with a lot of them at Remarkable in Disability Tech that are not ideal products for crowdfunding, because of regulation and so on. So that shouldn't be the only avenue. It's a good one, but I think there's, for example, with scale investors, a network of women, and also I think a few male investors, if maybe I'm incorrect, but I think so, but that only invest in women-led startups, and I think that's important things to have. Other VC groups and VCs coming together to talk and just maybe focus on women entrepreneurs. Artesian has a fund for entrepreneurs. So many organizations are opening funds specifically for female entrepreneurs that are helping. Seeing more of that come true can be helpful, and I hope we'll get more in the next few years. Before we wrap up, I want to say for the female founders out there and non-binary and anyone that is innovating in the disability tech space, we have applications open for the Remarkable Accelerator at the moment. It's a really fantastic program, 4 months of amazing masterclasses, fantastic mentoring and coaching, and $75,000 of investment. So go check us out at remarkable.org, and I hope to see your application come true. The link will also be down in the description of this video, so you can go there directly and enjoy your weekend. It's Friday night.
Amazing.
Thank you, Sinéad.
Thank you, Filipa.
Thank you, Fishburners, for having us, and Microsoft for hosting.
Anytime.
Woohoo!
Live. Hello, welcome back to Fishburner Live, and it is Friday night with Microsoft for Startup and Fishburner Female Founders Pitch Night. I have an old acquaintance or old colleague here, Kesby from Wyda.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Congratulations for braving the stage. You done very well, and the judges like it, and then unfortunately there were too many good pitch.
Yeah, it was still a lot of fun.
And you are part of the winning team as well.
Part of the winning team.
It is called double dipping. Kay is so good at it. That's why she has been in excellent management career before.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
So, because I love business game and as a training opportunity, that's why when I see a female founder opportunity, I say, Kay, come. Tell us more about it. I will put the link in the description below, so people after watching this want to find out more, then follow your link.
Yeah.
But tell everyone, what is Wyda about and why?
Yeah, okay. Well, Wyda is, an RPG for business. So it's about helping people understand the ecosystem that they're in when they're in business or working with business, to really overcome the gap that most professionals in business really only understand a small slice, the silo that they're in, and they don't understand the broader ecosystem. And what happens is it means they're very frustrated. They feel like they don't have any agency, or they don't understand why things are happening. And it costs organizations money because people can't innovate. They can't collaborate across functions, and they can't really be effective communicators and decision makers.
Yep.
But at the same time, people are actually terrified or intimidated of business education. They think it's going to be boring. It's a bit like math at school. It's like, oh, I'm not good at that. So we've built a simulation that takes the fun and the engagement of gaming into that business education, and it's very realistic, puts you in the shoes of business executives to make first-person decisions.
Could there be different role within the game?
Yeah.
So there is a logistic person behind, there is a sales, there is a COO, there is a customer support, and there is a supply chain issue, and there is a human resource issue, and of course there is a CFO keep complaining that we don't have enough cash to do everything.
Yes, that's a pretty good summary. So far in our simulations, we've got 9 different executive functions you can play in the first person.
All right.
And you make decisions as that person, work with their team, work with the board, with their external people. So you know not only what do they do in a day, but what does it feel like? Mm-hmm. Who do they work with? Where do they learn? What do they care about?
Yep.
And importantly, where is the common ground among these stakeholders, and where do they actually have completely different perspectives?
I imagine that it's good for a salesperson. Put them into the shoes of the customer support team.
Yes.
So then to understand, oh, hang on, I can't just keep promising.
Yes.
And then put the delivery team in the shoes of the finance team, so they understand, there is a cost and cash flow constraint.
Yes.
Yep. So how many scenarios is available within your platform at the moment?
Yeah.
Because business do come in different size and shape.
Yeah.
So I would imagine your client will need a variety of combination to fit their situation though.
Yeah. So at the moment you go through 14 different simulations. There's 14 different short simulations.
Okay.
And then that gives you a very holistic picture of the whole ecosystem and how it fits together.
So the model business is what industry is it?
We've taken common business challenges across industry and tried to create it. So you step into the shoes of a fictitious company, and you step in and you sign into the dashboard of these different executives. Yeah. So you face typical common challenges from all these different perspectives and Wyda is about a wider perspective, taking a wider perspective of these issues.
Yeah. So obviously, I particularly like this opportunity is because Microsoft supporting Fishburner.
Yeah.
And what they want is discover really impressive startups and bring you guys to their corporate community to showcase how innovative Microsoft has been and potentially bring connection to help each other.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they naturally want you to put all your cloud services on the Azure platform, which is fair enough.
Yes.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Because you do need to put it on a platform somewhere.
Yes.
So, has tonight bring you any good connection so far with Microsoft?
I think so. I was chatting with Sinéad earlier that Microsoft is actually a customer of ours, and they put their technical people through who are so deeply experts in the technical field, but need to be able to talk to the business. also their CSMs and their AEs are going through it, so they can build empathy for their customers.
So you have actually Microsoft as a
customer.
The logo was on your slide
Yes.
earlier, so you already have a testimonial from them directly.
Yes, so we're working with them in Canada and in Australia and New Zealand.
Australia, New Zealand, Canada.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
When are you going global?
So, well, we're now doing a seed raise,
That's right.
which will really support that global push because we're ready to move global already. It's really exciting.
Next question. How are you going to use that 1 million fund when you get it?
Yeah. Well, partly to evolve our tech. So really to think about actually with the Azure Cognitive Services, you can actually make a really interesting interactive game, all the identity management, all of those things that the Azure Stack makes available to evolve the game. And in awareness, really making sure that the world knows we exist and taking it to the world.
So is the game, how long is a whole, you said that 14 mini game stages.
Yeah.
How long does it take for to complete the whole sort of training itinerary or curriculum?
Yep. So we take people through an experience of the 14 simulations so they get that very broad perspective.
Yep.
And we recommend people do one level of the game a week because it's really packed with cognitive sort of intensity.
Yep.
And that takes them about an hour. So
Okay.
they do sort of 2 of those short scenarios. They're about 30 minutes each.
Yep.
And once they've gone through that over the first sort of 6-7 weeks, then there's micro-learning that they can dig into. Then they can bolt onto that broader, wider perspective.
Is it replayable to develop deeper insight and more understanding, because you do mention that there are different level of complexity. So how does that work?
Yeah, you could play it again, and we're continually sort of dropping new micro-learning and new simulation challenges to expose people to the pieces they were really interested in or they struggled with a little bit, they want to dig a little bit deeper into.
Yeah. So is it must be a team-based learning, or is it also solo learning possible?
It is solo learning. So
Solo learning
even
at
when
this
we do
point.
it with an enterprise, it's in a cohort. Each player needs to do it themselves, so they all experience that empathy building and feel what it's like to make these decisions, and then they discuss it as a cohort.
Okay.
So it's very high accountability learning. There's nowhere to hide. Like in a workshop, you can sort of sit back while someone else does the bit you're not comfortable with.
Exactly.
You know what? You've got to do the ones you love, and you've got to be in that growth mindset and stretch yourself in the ones you're less comfortable with.
Fantastic. Okay, we are at Sydney Startup Hub.
Yes.
Naturally, I like the business game model because in my previous corporate incarnation,
Yes.
I enjoy a couple of good business games, and I think it was a wonderful learning experience.
Yeah.
So naturally, I can imagine that in startup, the team of 4 or 5, when they need to scale up, they also go through a lot of those knowledge gap and awareness gap issues.
Yes.
When will you, or do you contemplate that Wyda game will potentially be a overall holistic training platform for early stage startup as well?
Yeah, any early stage startup that is in a B2B model that is selling to a corporate should be doing this game because they'll understand.
So half of the building is suitable actually.
Absolutely, because they need to
Fantastic.
understand the business well enough to know what difference does their solution actually make and who would care about that and how would they measure that and what would the decision making look around that. So yeah, absolutely for
I think that's actually
anyone in or selling to that corporate environment.
I think actually one of the big gap is actually, as far as I'm aware of, in here, most of the people feel that they have, because they are consumer, they feel
Yes.
that B2C seems to be easier and more understandable.
Yeah.
But most of the people trying to sell to B2B and just keep thinking, I'm hitting a brick wall, I'm hitting a brick
Yes.
wall. And we all know how long the
It's
corporate
hard
sales process
to get them
is.
to make a decision. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or make a meeting available.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So wonderful to see you, Kate, today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you so much for braving our live stream, and go to the link in the description below to find out what's happening at Wyda's game. Is there a freemium model? People can sign up and experiment with it first.
They can experiment with the demo, but
All right, there is a demo.
Yes.
Okay, there is a demo. We'll
Awesome.
talk Kate into make it a deeper and wider demo. So, because actually, after all, it's a per seat training
It is
service.
a per seat training. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank
man.
you so much for your time. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Follow the link in the description. We go to our sponsor message. We come back to see the winning part of the pitch that Kate happens to be part of. We'll talk to Maja first, and we'll see.
Fantastic.
Sponsor message.
Thank you for all the people that are watching online. I believe we have people from England, Israel, the US.
Okay, my name's Alex. I'm the founder of Trim.
First-hand dramatic impact of climate change.
We will send a read-only copy.
Please jump on here, send us.
Welcome back to Fishburner Live, and now we have two Canadian pitching tonight.
I know, crazy, right?
But you do you still call yourself Canadian?
Oh, I'm absolutely Canadian. 100% call myself
But
Canadian.
your accent is not as strong as
I know.
Yeah. I
One of the
can't see
ladies
her
out there.
now.
I can't see her. Oh, no, it's all right. Oh, yeah, I gotta go have a chat to her.
No.
People tell me whenever I go back home that I don't sound Canadian at all
You
anymore.
lost
They
your
ask me where
accent.
I'm from, and I'm like, what? Exactly.
Thank you for making time available to come to pitch.
Oh, no
and thank
worries.
you so much for braving our camera. This is
Anytime.
live, uncut, and I don't know what's going to happen in this
No
conversation
problem.
yet.
I love
And
it, living on the edge.
That's the whole purpose.
Yeah.
We want to make this networking conversation available for people who is either potentially starting up or starting up somewhere outside Sydney Startup Hub, thinking about what's happening over there, and that's why we bring a snapshot of what's happening. And
problem.
tonight, and now, sorry for my frosty voice, we have the winner of judges' favorite, Melo with Maja.
Thank you, man.
Kate is part of the founding team as well.
Absolutely.
All
Definitely.
right.
Yeah.
Tell everyone what is Melo. Melo, right? What is Melo and why?
No problem. So Melo is a tool for modern families, any kind of family that is out there that is trying to manage the mental load of running a family. So all the stuff that we have to remember and think of, and it is around the mental load, that's why we call ourselves Melo, trying to manage some of that, stay on top of it, but also shift how we're managing it today. What we know is that most people out there are still running in a bit of a 1950s autopilot where one person in the family is managing and running with most of that lion's share of the mental load in their families, and it's causing us to fight, it's causing us to have a lot of friction. We've had some people say to us, that was the reason I got divorced the first time, so I'm glad you're doing this. So that's what we're trying to solve and help families manage.
Very good.
Yeah.
And how does it actually help people through that workload management, task management issues? How?
Yeah, so it's purpose-built for families, and I think in many ways that if you think about it, it would be like a combination of an Asana or Jira, but specifically designed for families. So it is about putting some of those things out of your head and putting them into Melo, so then Melo manages
So it's
that
a
mental
task and
task-based.
time management tools.
Yes. Initially, right, that's at the basic side of things. Then it has a lot of preloaded stuff in it.
That means
So-
checklist of certain common program or projects.
task list. So, in every family, birthday parties come up, multiple of them, and they're always the same steps. So rather than remembering all the steps, Melo will have that loaded. Remembering every time you go on holidays or sell a house or whatever it is, it's all preloaded.
Yeah.
So that's the first
Or
step.
a birthday party. You will talk birthday party.
Yeah.
Or maybe simply kids' weekend sports schedule.
All
things
kinds of
like
things.
that.
Yeah, but it's what we are focusing is on task rather than an event. So what we've heard from our families is everybody has a shared calendar.
That's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
So you know there's a soccer game going on tomorrow, but who's going to make sure the uniform's clean and the snacks are packed and the bag is packed and the water bottle's there? That's the thing that's causing frustration because it's usually sitting in one person's head, right? And so we're trying to bring visibility to that. And the other thing around Melo is design. It has a lot of content. It has a lot of like suggestions of how you might want to do things, and it's built around what we call the Melo method. So it's like we have a methodology for families. We do. It's we sort of say Melo itself, the tool, is like a post-it note. The Melo method is Kanban or Scrum, right? Like it's a methodology and sets of things that we suggest to families without over-corporatizing it, right? The idea is just like, what can we do in our habits, in our daily things that raises that visibility, that makes us work as a team a little bit better.
Fantastic. It's a household, family, extended family team.
Yeah, so we're starting with a core family first, so a partnership, including the kids, because by the way, there's so much to be said about kids owning responsibility for stuff. But the idea is that we will build our village, so that you include babysitters and other parents in the community or grandparents or whatever else is building villages to help each other.
Fantastic. So what's your go-to-market model?
So we have two go-to-market models, really. So one is obviously the families themselves.
So B2C, is that right?
B2C, direct-to-market, just as an app itself. And that's a subscription-based app, 3 months free. We're launching in end of next week. So
launching. So far it's pilot only.
There is an app inside in the App Store, but it's not the version that we want. So we've done it. We did a pilot. We did some beta testing. We got an MVP grant, which was awesome, and we've done a UX UI review. So the new version is getting launched next week.
Fantastic.
So that's direct to customers.
The back end is all under control.
Under control. We've got an amazing CTO.
Fantastic.
What can I say? We're very lucky. And then we've also just learned that companies are really keen to support their working families. So we've actually partnered with University of Melbourne academics, and we've designed a learning program around how to do this, plus the tool itself. So there's a set of 3 workshops with amazing academics at the University of Melbourne who are experts in the space, then the tool.
And you mentioned that you actually are quite close to Macquarie University startup community. Is Macquarie Uni also promoted to the as a B2B client, promoted to the staff or extended network of Macquarie Uni families?
Yeah, so we got lucky last year. We actually won the pitch competition there as well, which was very fun.
That's right.
And we got one of the awards was a research partnership with Macquarie Uni. So what we're actually doing in February is Macquarie University is going to run a pilot
or next February?
This February
coming. February,
So they're going to offer it to their staff. But we're also going to run a research project through that. So clinical psychology department is actually going to measure the well-being of families as they use Melo. Because one of the things we're really keen is to make sure that this is evidence-based, that it is genuinely making a difference in families. And so we wanted to measure it. And so the researchers are going to come and help us and do some research with us as well.
So sounds like you're going to make parenting even more scientific then.
Well,
or clinical, is it?
No, God, no. It will be completely invisible, but we are, there's just so many things out there that they say they're helping you. But are they really? Like, can they genuinely say that? So for us, we're dorks. I'm an engineer by training, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Unless there's some evidence and data behind something, I don't believe it. So I want to be able to measure independently out of us that we're genuinely making an impact, right? And it is going to be self-reported because my experience is my perception.
I think actually even self-reported and self-awareness of it over time through a methodology or without a methodology, that is actually a good indicator if the method is helping them. I don't know if you noticed, but when you were pitching, the 3 judges, their eyes open up, at least Filipa and I forgot the other one's name. I forgot her name now. They were Francis. Their eyes were opening up as if as if you were telling them a gospel that they've been waiting for. Have you seen that reaction before?
It's really interesting, right? And it does not matter whether you're male, female, whatever your gender identity is. if you have the lived experience of being in a family, the moment we tell people about this, they're like, oh, and there's this really physical response.
Parenting and
100%.
family do
So,
have some low.
I didn't watch them, I have to admit. I don't know what happened in those 90
No,
seconds.
because it was very
goes very
intensive.
fast.
Exactly.
But I'm not surprised because
Yes.
that's usually, as I said, the reaction that people
Yes.
have. It's hard. This is hard. Parenting's hard.
So naturally, there was one question when they were asking you Q&A. It popped up to my head when you say that we have some preloaded lists or something, or profile or something like that. My question is, would that naturally come with a statistical average? How many percent of the work is actually done by the husband? How many percent of that normally done by the wife? So as a recommendation, that come with the list?
It's a really good question, yeah. So one of the things that's not live in the app yet, and we're going to play around with it, right, is because a lot of this conversation can be very emotional, right, and not data-driven.
No, but if they leave it too late, it becomes stress and emotional.
Yeah.
But if they plan it early, it could be just plain sailing.
Absolutely. So the idea is when you have a project and all those sort of things, you sit down in a huddle, right, like we do regularly, and you go, who has what? Like, what's your week like? What's my week like? What can you handle? What can I handle? And it's a calm conversation rather than while I'm running and I can't do it, handle this for me because I can't handle it. So the idea is this, facilitating that conversation. But we are playing around with whether you want a dashboard and you look at completed stuff. Now there's complexity around it, right? Like one task might be 2 minutes, but another task could be 2 hours. How do you measure that? Do you want to see if one person's carrying 90% of the load and the other person's 10%? And again, that might be the right average for that family, but we're going to play around with how we do that dashboard. We're not there yet.
So where is that AI coming in?
Yeah, so...
You mentioned AI, algorithm-based sort of to help the process. How does it help?
The idea is what we're going to do. I mean, AI is wonderful, right? And no matter how much we think we're all spontaneous, we're really not, right? And a lot of things that we do in our families is quite repeatable, and it goes in cycles, and we continually reinvent those cycles as we go through them. So the idea would be that we would have machine learning algorithms that are running and figuring out what are the consistent things happening for each family, that in all those planning cycles, actually Melo can nudge and remind and think ahead, right? But simple things, it doesn't have to be complex. There's birthday parties coming up. Here's a list of things that you should be doing. I'm somewhere in Westfield. Here's 3 tasks, geolocation, right? Like, do you want to complete them now? Not to mention about setting some things around, this is how, as a partnership, you're behaving. Is this still working for you? Do you want some nudges that might make you kind of offer different ways of doing things? So one is just really taking ahead, like that planning and thinking away from the family and Melo doing it. Longer term, executing some of it would be amazing.
As a gray hair parent, my observation, my experience is that as long as you know the list of tasks early and have time to schedule it out, there is no stress.
Yes.
When you need to do the Barbie and then suddenly the wife say, you need to go to get the salad dressing now. And then you say, I'm doing the Barbie, I'm doing it. That's where the stress pops up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's this that kind of stuff comes up all the time, right? Like that we assume the other person's got it. They've thought of it. They thought about it. And there's no way they have, right? Because it's sitting in our heads.
No, it could be out of the long shopping list, one of the item was missing. And then you have to dash out and to get it again, and that's where the time pressure causes stress.
Absolutely. And what happens when we're stressed, we even more so fall in the other roles that we've always seen our parents do and things like that, rather than doing what suits us. So
what's the next stage? Big launch upcoming? Are you raising capital or go to market? What kind of help you want people watching this to offer?
Yeah, so we are raising capital. We are starting the conversations, really. It's the start of the process itself. We absolutely have a path to market that is a bootstrap path to market because we are speaking to organizations and we're finding in the B2B space organizations are keen to help their working parents. Yeah. But we can be a lot quicker if we can raise some capital. So we're in that space.
Besides academic client in Macquarie Uni and Melbourne University, do you go for other traditional corporate client that the HR department might recommend to the staff and help the staff to manage better
Absolutely.
family time?
We're speaking to a couple of the big four advisory accounting firms that have said that they're interested in running a pilot with us. There's a local council that's already committed in doing some of this stuff with us. We're speaking to New South Wales government as well about how might we want to do it. So we absolutely are going to be speaking to a lot of people, and there seems to be quite a bit of interest because it's something practical that employers can offer in a space that they don't want to get involved with, which is in your home, but has so much impact as to how their diverse talent shows up at work, right? It's really interesting.
Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks for letting me
thank
chat.
you everyone for watching.
That's
and we
awesome.
say bye-bye
Thank
and let's
you.
go to sponsor message. Hello, we are back, and with us now we have Lisa. For everyone who has been watching Fishburner pitches or come to our event, we would have remember Lisa pitch at least 2 times.
Yeah, 2 times before.
And
This is
you
my
won,
3rd time.
You won at least 1 time.
I won the People's Choice today. Yay!
And then previously you won
yeah,
once.
yeah, no, I won.
And today you won the People's Choice Award.
Yes, that's right. Very exciting.
Is it the same business?
It is the same business, yeah.
Sorry that I actually not 100% sure.
We've
One
come a long
another.
way. Yeah, one another, yeah.
I do remember that you formed the business. You have the idea about how people helping each other during the COVID when you were stuck in England, was it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I was stranded in Spain with my mum and my
stuck in
granny
Europe,
and my
that's
little
right.
boy. Yeah,
All
and
right.
it was martial law. I realised that ultimately
Martial law?
There was literally policemen in the streets with guns that wouldn't let us leave in Spain.
In Spain,
yeah,
that's where you were.
That's where I was, and my flight home was cancelled.
Ouch.
So I was actually the last plane to arrive back in Sydney that didn't have to hotel quarantine. So it was really, really close call. So I had the idea to create a kindness marketplace where people could just help each other. Like that was my idea.
Because I already seen your pitch at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Now, but for those people who hasn't seen it yet, would you like to do a 30 seconds elevator pitch?
Absolutely. So One Another is a kindness marketplace where people are enabled to help one another. So ultimately it's driving the good human economy. So people that want to help, that have been displaced, can help those that really, really need support. And what we're doing is we're rewarding people for doing frequent acts of kindness. So the more acts of kindness you do, the more points you accrue, and you can redeem those against our Karma partners. So you help someone out, you get a free coffee.
Fantastic. A free coffee. Is it a peer-to-peer payment marketplace as well? If somebody prefer to make offer cash incentive?
We don't offer people to pay for help. It's all acts of kindness, but people can build points for the more connections that they have.
Okay, within your platform is about points and earning credits. Yeah.
Exactly right. And you can pay those points forward because people do good, feel good, right? It's all about that intrinsic reward that you get. So what we want to do is empower people to do that. If that's what they want to do, they can pay those points forward to disadvantaged people that might need it.
How many users are out there now?
So we got 5,000, which was amazing. We got
5,000?
And what we're doing...
Out of how big a geographical location?
Australia-wide.
Australia-wide,
It's definitely
okay.
heavily concentrated in.
So you go full coverage. You don't focus on any suburb or any city yet.
No, we did focus heavily on the northern beaches where I live
Yeah.
and also the eastern suburbs,
Yeah.
but naturally word of mouth got out. I was interviewed by Mark Boris on his The Mentor podcast, which was incredible. I was on Studio
Fantastic.
10 talking about what we do.
Mark Boris interview you at what podcast?
The Mentor.
The Mentor podcast.
Yeah, pretty
and
cool.
We now Fishburner Live, our humble live podcast, also be able to have Lisa on stage.
I'm very happy to be here. This is where it all started. You know, I'm an alumni member here. I joined in 2015, and I've
right.
always been super passionate and been a what's it called? A avid spectator of what the incredible work that you guys do.
Thank you, and it's good to have you back. And when I saw the list of the pitching companies, I said, "Oh, Lisa is here. Lisa is here."
I'm back.
Yes, very good, very good. So, what is your besides spreading the word? What is your call for action or ask to the audience today?
Yeah, so the first would be to download the app, and we're currently in testing phase, so it isn't market ready, but we'd love the Fishburners and wider community to download it, let us know what we can do better. We're really updating that customer onboarding journey. We want to make sure that people are engaged, and ultimately we're raising as well. So if people
raising capital as well.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
so we're doing $1 million raise.
What are you going to use? What are you going to use the capital for?
So the capital is going to be used for our go-to-market strategy, ultimately, and also to enable I've got a co-founder, so for him to go full-time.
That's actually the good point. I actually haven't asked you what's your revenue model then?
So the revenue model is we have 3 solid revenue streams. So ultimately we have the members of the platform, so they can be a helper or a seeker, or you can be both.
Yep.
We have a $10 premium subscription option for those who can unlock premium features such as the Karma Marketplace, which is the standard. We also have the charities. So the charities and organisations that are able to sign up can access a unique dashboard, which they pay for access to. There's a number of tiers to that. And the Karma merchants pay to enable to provide the offer.
Okay. So is that how is that revenue stream coming, or is it a?
So ultimately, we're launching the app. It's going to be free to download.
Okay.
The premium feature is going to be coming in April next year.
Okay.
So people can.
So revenue still yet another 6 months to turn on.
We're pre-rev currently.
Okay. All the best. It
Thank
is the tough
you.
time.
It is a tough time.
Yes.
You know what the benefit is? The 3 people that are involved in the organisation, we're experts in our field, and we are able to do it and not pay ourselves to reduce churn massively.
Yeah. So have you tapped into the Microsoft network yet?
Not yet, but I plan to.
So today, I hope you build some new connections.
I was doing that as you got me.
Corporate always try to do one thing is called
CSR.
1 day a year.
Oh.
Yeah, CSR stands for Community Services Responsibility. Yes, as part of that, a lot of corporate actually do 1 day a quarter or 1 day a year.
Yeah.
You are allowed to nominate your day, full pay day, to do some volunteer work.
Yeah.
And in my past life, in corporate life, we go to help National Forest and Wildlife Services do clearing some bushes, do some council beach cleaning work, etc. But could that be part of the volunteer channel that people could help?
It absolutely is, and it's part of our next stage. So we want to be able to work with corporates to create bespoke dashboards and custom onboarding for them, so they can mobilise their workforce to give back beyond gold coin donations and running marathons.
Because then, with that, people, organisation who need volunteer could advertise their opportunities.
Absolutely.
Corporate would have a full smorgasbord of options to show it to the staff. Hey, now you have more than 5, 10. Now you have a whole area of options.
Yeah.
And in a lot of geographical location too, for diverse nationwide team to actually, they can choose.
Yeah, that absolutely is right, and we see a massive opportunity there for sure. And to enable people who have a skill set to give back at a grassroots level is a no-brainer.
I think it's a wonderful idea, initiative, wonderful undertaking. You've been running it for how long now?
It'll be 3 years in March.
Exactly. it's 3 years, and now finally go to market.
Yes.
And the moment of truth is coming.
It's coming.
And you said you got a grant, did you?
So we got the MVP grant, yeah, which is amazing.
When was it?
So we found out that we got it 2 months ago.
Oh,
so,
fantastic!
Yeah, and it's helped us
about
massively.
to fully allocated into production or development now.
Well, luckily we have a dev on our board, as one of our co-founders, so we don't have a massive cost associated with that. So we're using the MVP for our go-to-market.
Fantastic! Well done.
Thank you.
For anyone out there happens to bump into this YouTube video,
Yes.
what is your ask to them?
Go to the app stores and search one another, 2 separate words, and download it, and post a request or an offer of help, and try and connect with somebody in your community today.
What kind of investor should contact you on your LinkedIn link below?
Yeah, exactly. So
what kind of investor you would like to talk to?
we want a philanthropic-minded, social impact-orientated investor.
Any specific VC that front of your head you want to talk to?
Oh, I mean, there's so many out there. I mean, ultimately, it isn't about the VC. It's about what their values are from an alignment perspective and how they can help us grow and ultimately help more people, because that's our mission.
Yeah. Fantastic. So good to see you again,
Good
Lisa.
to see you too.
And so great to have you on Fishburner Live.
Yay.
Let's wave to the camera. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.